So this is part 2 of beliefs, or more specifically, part 2 to self-belief. So just as a quick little summary, last week what we did in part 1 was we went through and built the foundations and learned about the foundations of what a belief actually is. We went through the recipe to success. So success is desire, knowledge, plus belief. That's what equals success. Most people focus on the desire and the knowledge, and they forget to actually build up their own self-belief. And if you're not doing that, if you have desire and you have knowledge, but you don't have belief, then you just end up with frustration with all of your goals. We also dove into what happens when you actually change a belief. So remember those 10 steps where it was identify it, challenge it, think of the result if nothing happens. And it was in the middle parts, I think it was step 5 to about step 9. The middle section is where most people get challenged. It's where most people normally give up, because it's where the results don't happen and it looks like nothing is happening. It feels like nothing is happening, even though you're doing all of the things. So that is pretty important to understand, because if we know what to expect, it means that we can prepare ourselves for how to actually navigate it. So basically, that's what this training is all about. It's about how to build your belief, your self-belief, so that when those times come in your goal setting and it feels like nothing is working, then you actually have some tools and strategies to help get you through it, right? So that's what we're going to address in this call. But also, just to let you know, I've recorded an additional training, or it's probably more like a riff actually, on what to do when it feels like nothing is working. So you're going to listen to this call as step 1, and then I've got some great exercises for you in the guidebook. But then as an additional resource, what you can do is tap into the what to do when it feels like nothing is working riff. Now, this is perfect for when you were just in a funky zone, you don't know how to get out of like the negative thoughts, and like you're in the frustration zone. What I would suggest that you do is go to the resources tab, put some headphones in, go for a walk and listen to it. It goes for about 20-25 minutes, and it's just a really great recording to come back to at any stage to remind you of what's going on, who you really are, and how to shift out of it. So that's an additional thing for you that's already uploaded. So the reason why we are focusing on self-belief is because ultimately this is one of the 5 ways to become the most authentic version of you, yeah? But when it looks and feels like nothing is happening, that is your time to go within. That is the most important time to actually go within, internal, into your thoughts, into your body, into your emotion, so that you can create and cultivate and remind yourself of who you are. You can create and cultivate your self-belief by reminding yourself who you are. Yeah, so by growing your own happiness from the inside out, that's what's going to keep driving you forward. That's what's going to help you keep showing up when it feels like there's nothing working. And the thing is, I've already told you that you're going to face these times. All of us face these times when it feels like nothing is working. That is the exact reason why we need self-belief. It's in those moments of you've identified the bad belief, you've replaced it with the new belief, and you're just practicing it. You're reconfiguring your belief system, your neural pathways, your reticular activating system. That's when the faith is really necessary, and the trust in you and the trust in the universe, and believing that you can actually make this thing happen, whatever your goal is. More money, business, more clients, going traveling, creating a lifestyle, buying a house, buying a car, whatever it is. You have to believe that it's possible. And fun fact, this is how successful people become successful. All of those 6-7-figure entrepreneurs, the big influencers and creators that you see online, on YouTube, on social media, they have all mastered this part. They've mastered self-belief, and they've mastered believing and acting as if it's already happened, especially when it looks like nothing's happening. They have mastered this. So I'm taking you through this exact process. I mean, just think about like the creators of YouTube or Facebook. Yeah, like back before that was a thing, that was so far out of the realm of what was normal. I remember watching this doco once on the founders of YouTube, and it was so fascinating. They just had this idea, and they had this belief that it's going to work and this is how it's going to work. But everyone else around them thought that they were ridiculous. Nobody even could comprehend the idea of buying things online or watching videos online. It was just so far-fetched. So it was their belief that helped them take the steps when everyone else around them thought that they were crazy, when it felt like it wasn't actually working. Think about the first person to create the telephone. Was it Bell, George Bell, or someone Bell? Yeah, they were the only one that had their vision. They were the only one that believed in themselves, and they had enough belief in themselves and their vision, their idea to keep going. So again, it's the exact same for building your business or your project or doing the things that you love, building the kind of lifestyle that you really want to live. So it's almost about being delusional. I know that's a bit of a buzzword at the moment, but being delusional, being delulu, that is exactly what it takes. Remember, we are creating our own rules of life. We are creative beings. And that is literally what our job is. We've already created our own set of rules that have got us here, but a lot of them are quite limiting. So we have to be delusional in our thinking that, yes, this is going to work. Absolutely, it's going to work. Of course, I can do this. Now, yes, of course, some things can absolutely happen just like that. Of course they can. It's not like every goal of yours is going to require 5 years of changing beliefs and going through this process. It becomes quicker, it becomes easier, you become more in tune, you get more practiced, your reticular activating system operates completely differently. So yes, it can be created quickly. Of course it can. But in those challenging times, that's what this is all about. So this week and in this call, you're going to learn how to look at your life and how to reflect on your learnings, your lessons, your achievements, your celebrations, your life experience. This alone is so incredibly important, but also very powerful, and not enough people do this level of self-reflection. Now, we're not going to go super deep, right? I know that the last couple of weeks we have been going in deep, like, digging into a lot of our memories and beliefs and thought patterns and all of that. So this is not as deep as that, but it still requires that level of self-awareness and self-reflection. But I've got some really fantastic ways that you can do that. It's also about acknowledging your gifts, your skills, your talents, the things that come naturally to you. Now, this is all how you actually cultivate your self-belief. And the reason why we're doing it is ultimately to change how you feel about yourself so that you can actually feel confident, happier, more capable, like you can actually make this thing happen. You will know that no matter what, you'll be okay. No matter what happens, no matter what the results are or the outcome is, with the self-belief, you're going to know that you'll be okay. You're going to be able to ride the waves a lot easier. Because let's face it, entrepreneurship, working for yourself, creating content, being a content creator, working anything other than a job, it absolutely requires you to be okay with things being non-linear. It is essential that you learn how to ride the waves. It's essential that you understand that So much is out of your control, and there are so many unknown factors. And it is this fact of being an entrepreneur and the entrepreneurship game, the world of doing business for yourself and creating income in this way, it's knowing this that scares most people, because most people actually don't have that level of self-belief. So when the unexpected happens, when they get challenged, when things happen out of their control, they freak out. They don't have any internal resources to fall back on. And so they either give up, quit, and go back to their job, or it kind of freaks them out and they just procrastinate and stall for a little while. So the successful people are the ones who know that this is going to happen. They know that it's part of the ride, and they prepare themselves for it by cultivating exactly what we're going through in this program: the self-belief, the self-trust. So this is why you are doing it. Now, I just want to say, and this, I mean, it probably goes without saying, but I am going to address it because I feel like sometimes some things is so obvious and clear that we actually disregard it. But self-belief is something that can only be cultivated inside of you. You don't build self-belief from something external. You don't build self-belief by heaps of people giving you compliments and getting lots of likes on your social media posts and getting heaps of invitations to things and people saying, oh, wow, you're really good at this. And, oh, can you help me with this? And, oh, you were fantastic in this. Yeah. The promotions and the fame, that actually doesn't give you self-belief. Your self-belief, the believing that you are worthy, that you are valuable, that you have valuable things to say and contribute and give to people, that all comes from inside of you. And if you keep looking outside for the validation, you're going to constantly be on this emotional roller coaster, and you'll never have that solidity in yourself. This is the perfect example of why celebrities suffer so much with fame. They get the fame, they get all of the, the everything that comes with it, the money, the acknowledgement, the fans, the compliments, the awards, everything. And inside, they deeply, deeply doubt themselves. They don't like who they are. They don't trust people. They don't feel like any of this is actually worthy. I don't know if you've read Matthew Perry's book, his autobiography, just before he died. It is such, I mean, I'm a massive Friends fan, but this book is such a deep insight into what am only sure that will be like a story that so many other celebrities have. But he suffers and had always suffered desperately with self-doubt, low self-esteem, not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough. And he was one of the most successful, well-paid actors of his time, like multi-millionaire, probably in the billions. Anyway, it's a great book. Side note, I would highly recommend actually reading it. But it speaks to how the external will never give you the self-belief. Yeah. So we need to, yes, it's nice to receive compliments, and that's something else to talk about. But ultimately it is our responsibility to cultivate and build the self-belief inside. Self-belief is always self-built, always. It's about seeing yourself, acknowledging your challenges. That's the other big thing is, when we talk about self-love and self-belief, yes, we want to focus on the things that we're good at and the things that come natural and the things that we love and the things that we're proud of. Absolutely, that is so important. But also building self-belief is acknowledging your challenges, the hardships that you've had in life, the things that you've been through, because acknowledging them, you're acknowledging what you've overcome. You're having a look at where your resilience has been built. You're kind of picking apart and discovering, oh, that's where I learnt this. Oh, I overcome this really big thing, this really big obstacle. Wow, that is massive. A lot of people may never even go through that, and I did, and I'm here, and everything's okay. So acknowledging your challenges is actually an essential part of building your self-belief as well. So we don't want to ever hide away from those parts or those chapters of our life. We don't want to feel any shame from them, because they are actually crucial, integral parts of who you are and your story, and ultimately how you can potentially help people. Yeah, there are so many fantastic examples of people who have used their hardships, turned it around, and then gone on to help hundreds, thousands of other people suffering the same thing. And it's about learning to love those parts of you, love those experiences. It doesn't, it's not, if horrible things have happened, it's not saying that you are happy that the horrible thing happened, but you're looking at it from a lens of gratitude for what you have learnt, for coming out the other side, and the person that you are today. Because even horrible things happening to us, they still have a purpose, and they still happened for a reason. Even if it's really hard to think about it like that, I promise you that that is the case. Yeah, it's all about our perspective of how we choose to look at things and what we choose to walk away with. So by looking at these things and the chapters and learning to appreciate them and see them as valuable parts of you and your life story, that's how you're going to build a really strong self-belief and ultimately confidence, self-trust, and the end goal, authenticity, right? It's about making peace. When we make peace with those not so great parts of our life, we instantly become authentic. So I want to show you, well, I guess probably more talk about how to do exactly what I've just described, how to build your self-belief, how to go through those processes. So I'm going to talk about it in this training here, but it's all of this is actually backed up in the guidebook. So basically I've got 3 of the most effective ways, and I guess probably the fun ways, to help you build your self-belief. Of course, there's more than one way, right? Like there's lots of different ways that you can do this. But what I would encourage you to do is start with these 3 ways. They're relatively light, they're fun, they're interactive. And once you've done these, you can then go on and be exploring other ways just to keep building on that belief that you've already instilled. So as I've already said, self-belief it's the byproduct of when you can look at, reflect on your life and acknowledge where you are now, but also where you've been, where you've come from. It's about acknowledging what you've experienced and seen and felt and done. So reflecting, like learning how to self-reflect, is really important. A lot of people will just focus on the positive and try and just ignore or shut out the so-called negative things that have happened. But by doing that, you're removing a massive part of yourself, and you won't actually fully feel complete. You won't feel the full intensity of belief within yourself unless you can do both. So this is how you truly see yourself. When you can see yourself and accept it, acknowledge it, like there's just something really magical that happens. And it's not about going back into bad memories. It's about looking at them from a different perspective. Remember, I think it was right on day 1, our very first call together, when we spoke about the meaning that we give situations, and the perspective that we have on something can change. There's more than one perspective. And if we've been telling ourselves the same story over and over and over again about what happened and why it happened, well, we're stuck. So this is about learning to just slightly move angle a couple of degrees even, so that you can shift your perspective and just find something that might be a little bit more positive that you can draw out of the situation, or a lesson, or something that you were reminded of, or something that you learned or discovered because of it. Now, self-reflection is something that happens for most people. I think it's fair to say that it happens normally once a year. Well, once in a period. So normally people start self-reflecting in December, over the Christmas period, of course, over New Year's, and then a little bit into January. So New Year's resolutions are a really powerful time to be doing this process. Probably not in this level, like this sort of depth of what we're going to do. Most of the time, it's just reflecting on the year that was. And look, that is fantastic. I think, any time that we can self-reflect is always going to be a positive outcome, right? But of course, that we can do this at any time. And it's actually really important to schedule in times to do it throughout the year. We can literally start our day, or we can literally start our life over at any time. Like, we don't need a New Year's resolution. We don't need it to be the end of the year in order for us to do that. I guess a lot of other people might potentially do it on their birthday as well. So what I would encourage you to do is, yes, use those annual reminders to maybe go through this process, but then also intentionally do it a couple of times throughout the year. Maybe, I don't know, sort of 2 or 3 times, at least in the first year of you doing this. I would say do it at least every 2 to 3 months, and just see if you can go a little bit deeper. See if you can find something else in this self-reflection process. A lot of us aren't, I would actually say most of us aren't actually taught how to reflect, how to self-reflect on what's happened. And I just want to let you know that this is a skill that you get to learn. So if this is, if you're relatively new to this, or maybe this is your first time that you're doing it, just really understand that it's a skill that you develop, and you'll just gradually go a little bit deeper and deeper and start to explore a little bit more, and you'll start to feel more comfortable with it as well. The more that you do it, the more that you start to explore yourself and all that's happened. Yeah. So it needs to be done intentionally and often at first. Like I said, that first year, it's really good to try and do it a couple of times, and just know that the more you practice it, the better you'll get, to the point where you'll find yourself in, I don't know, like a random situation. You might even be having a conversation with someone about something totally unrelated, and it just triggers something in your mind, and you're like, oh yeah, that reminds me of that time when I did this, or I went through this, or this happened, and that actually has taught me a lesson. Like, the lesson might actually come to you through the conversation. So the more you practice it, the more you'll be open to it, and the more you'll be able to start drawing upon your own experiences and picking out the value from it, which is really exciting. Yeah. So, like I said, I've put together three of my most, I would say, fun ways of doing some self-reflection, and with the intention to build self-belief. So they are specifically designed for you to see your value, feel your value who you are, and what you have to offer. So the very first exercise, I'm pretty sure that's in the guidebook, is actually going through your life, and you're going to be reflecting on the things that you're proud of. 4 things. the things that you're proud of, what comes naturally to you, challenges that you've faced in life, and then lessons that you've learned from it. So the first one is all of that, but internal. So what are the internal things that you're proud of? The qualities that you have? Are you fantastic at seeing people for who they are? Can you cut through their energy and can you see them? Are you really good at coaching someone? Or that's probably not internal. Internal is more the qualities that you have, the way you see the world, your insights, your perspectives. Yeah, so the first part of the exercise is focusing on the things within yourself that make you you. You're going to reflect on those qualities that you're proud of. Maybe you're a really naturally loving, kind-hearted person. Maybe you are quite confident. Maybe you're proud of the fact that you can always see two sides of a conversation. Yeah? These are just examples. You're then going to look at, like I said, the internal part of what comes naturally to you. So can you naturally calm someone down if you see them getting distressed? The internal challenges that you've faced. For me, I know I've shared in the guidebook some of the internal challenges that I've faced over my years is a pretty bad eating disorder, really bad depression that led to some pretty big mental health sort of issues, I guess. Almost declaring bankruptcy, having I think it was my lowest point was having $600 in my bank account and my rent was due the next week and my rent was $600. What else was it? Yeah. So all of these internal, and really, really negative bad self-doubt, bad self-esteem, high self-doubt and really low self-esteem. It was really extreme, right? So there are some of the internal challenges that I have personally faced. So I have gone through, I've reflected on them, I've done a lot of work on them, and now I can talk about them without any real emotion attached to it. So it's a part of me. At the time, it was really shitty. It was really horrible to go through it. But looking back, I'm actually so grateful that it did because it taught me so much. It made me who I am. It made me a more compassionate person. It made me so much more motivated to help women who are struggling with things like this. That's ultimately why I'm a coach, right? So by looking at these challenges, it actually, it can transform your life. And then the lessons that I've learned. So that's the internal side. I then take you through how to do the exact same process, but external to you. So what I mean by that is, what are the things that you are proud of, like getting a qualification, getting a certificate, finishing a course, getting the job that you've always wanted or the promotion you've always wanted, or maybe you put on this incredible workshop or art display or something. So something that's not an internal quality. It's like an action that you've done, a credit that you've received, a promotion, a job, or something like that. You're then, again, staying with the external, what comes naturally to you. So these are like your skills. Maybe you're fantastic at cleaning. I don't know why that was the first thing that came to my mind. I was looking around the room. Maybe you're a fantastic photographer. Maybe you naturally can coach people. Maybe you always get people saying, oh, wow, you're an incredible content creator, or you can do videos really well, or you've got a really keen eye when it comes to stuff, right? So you're looking at what are the things that come naturally to you, like your skills and your gifts and your qualities. Then you're going to go through and look at the external challenges that you've faced, i.e., like big events that have happened in your life that are like external to you. So losing a job, losing all your money, going bankrupt, um, car accidents, people in your life dying, losing a pet. Yeah, like big challenges that things that happened, events, situations, getting into a really massive fight with your family and maybe never speaking to them or losing a friend or something like that. So big challenges that you've faced that potentially might have actually changed the course of your life or defined who you are up until this point. So we're going to reflect on those. And then finally, the lessons that you've learned because of those external events. So if you did have a massive fight with a friend and now you no longer talk, well, all right, what have you learned from that? What did you learn about yourself, that person, the situation, boundaries? Did you have them? Did you not? Really, really powerful exercise. This is something that I encourage you to do it, go through and do it now. And then what I would encourage you to do is do it a couple of times over the next 12 months. Schedule it in for every 3 months and go through the exact same exercise, and just see what else comes up. Because you'll often find that the first time you do it, you'll probably sort of stay quite light, or like, the things that come to you instantly, which is fantastic. But then you do it again and you suddenly go deeper. It's easier for you to think of and remember things. And of course, the more that we can uncover, the more we're going to be able to see ourselves. And like I've done this so many times, and every single time, sometimes the same thing comes up, but often I get quite a few new things. I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about that chapter of my life or that thing that I went through. That was a really big challenge at the time. And it's so good to be able to go through these processes. You just start to see yourself in a totally different way. And now, because of doing this over and over again, I know that I have a shit ton of resilience. I know that no matter what happens to me in life, I'm going to be okay. So by doing this, what you're actually doing is you're going looking for the evidence of how good you are. You're looking for the evidence of how strong you are, how capable you are. You're intentionally finding things that have happened in your life that show you that show you your qualities, that show you your value and your worth. You're already innately valuable and worthy, but this is evidence of it. And our conscious mind needs this evidence. This is how we build it. So I'm really, really excited for you to do that. If you feel like sharing any of those, what comes up for you, I would love that. There's absolutely no obligation, so please don't feel that you need to. But if you want to, I would love to hear some of the things that have come up for you. So I've actually just written down here in my notes a couple of examples, and I thought I wasn't going to share them because I feel like we could move on, but I am just going to share them briefly, just so there is a feeling of transparency and a feeling of connection here, because obviously this is a recording. So I want you to understand that these are some of the things that come up for me, I guess on a recent time that I did them, or maybe as I was just writing down the notes, they just came up as what I know to be pretty defining moments in my life. So I'm going to share them with you, just, I guess, to start prompting your thoughts of where you can go, but then also, to share and to connect with you. So some examples of some challenges that I've had in my life is all throughout my teenage years, dealt with a lot of body issues, which I've shared already. Had really bad eating disorder that kind of went hand in hand with really quite severe depression, which led to suicidal thoughts. And, it got a little bit sort of hairy there for a while. And I was in a really, really dark place that I genuinely didn't think I would ever get out of. And I didn't want to get out of. I didn't know how I could. So that was all through my teenage years. High school was absolutely terrible for me. I had the world's lowest self-esteem, no real will to live. And yeah, like when I think back to those times, I can remember them, but they're also, I guess, a little bit, it just kind of feels like this big empty space. I do have memories of that time, but at the same time, it's like there was a lot going on internally, but there also wasn't really a whole lot going on externally apart from, pretty bad things. So that was a chapter of my life that totally defined me, totally defined me. At age 18, I left home. Well, actually, no, I left home when I was 17 for the first time. Not for any bad reason. It was just I was very independent and I just knew that I wanted to leave. So I went out on my own, moved 3-4 hours away and got a job, got a full-time job, got multiple jobs. I traveled overseas for the first time by myself at 18. I just turned 18 the week before. I worked at summer camps and just literally went traveling by myself with no money, no plan, no idea what I was doing, no help, no support. So they were challenging times, but also incredibly defining. I think I was about 25 when I had my heart broken for the first time. And I dated quite a lot, but 25 was when, he broke up with me and my whole world just collapsed. Let's see. Oh, at 32, I finally made it as a supervisor and got a full-time job in government. So up until that point, I, was freelancing and casual work and just didn't want to go to university and all of that. So, but I was told that you got to get a government job, you got to get a full-time gig, and if you're really successful, you become a manager. That was just what parents and family would say to me at the time. So anyway, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to make that happen. And I never thought that I could do it, but then eventually I did do it. So that was an accomplishment at the time. Now it's like, I would never go back to that. But at the time, it was really important to me and I made it happen. At 33, I found big love, like real big sort of true love type thing. Another chapter, I realized that I didn't want to work for anyone anymore. Started researching online businesses and stepping into this space. This was really, but this was massively challenging for me, fighting against society norms and my own beliefs and my own expectations and family expectations and all of that. So that is some things that came up for me. Businesses failing, or I don't like using that word, but businesses not going the way that I wanted. Let's put it that way. The challenges that came from that, almost going bankrupt, being $40,000 in debt. So these are some of the things that have come up for me that I've discovered while I've been doing this process, and going through it has been really, really transformational. So I'm really excited for you to start it. Like I said, it is all in your guidebook. Don't shy away from the hard stuff. You do want to learn all that you can. You want to see yourself and all that you've experienced. But as I said, you're going to be doing this multiple times. So just go through it, see what comes up for the first time, go back, and then, set the intention that you'll sort of dig a little bit deeper. All right. Now, the second exercise It's a really good one. It's a really good one for building your self-belief. It's super simple. It's incredibly simple to do, but it's actually probably one of the hardest things for people to do. But doing this is really going to build your self-belief. So your next activity is to start accepting compliments. Now, you might already feel pretty good with compliments, in which case, amazing. Kudos to you. I think that's really cool. Or you might be on the other end of the spectrum where it's really hard. If someone says, "Oh, wow, I love your hair," or "Where'd you get that dress? I love it. You look so good." Or whatever the compliment is, right? "You did a really good job today." How do you feel in those moments? Does it make you uncomfortable? Does it kind of make you stress out? Do you blush? Do you shy away? Do you like brush it off and you're like, "Oh, yeah, no, oh, yeah, no, it's nothing. Oh, whatever." Like, what is your response? Whatever your response is, it's really good to identify it. And then if it's a response where you're like, you sort of disregard it and you blow it off, I want you to just do a little bit of contemplation and just ask yourself, what's the belief behind this? What am I believing right now? What am I believing to make me disregard this person's compliment? Yeah, because there's a belief there. You've learned how to identify them. So I want you to go through that process. And then once you've done that, you know how to shift it. Yeah, that's what last week was about, was taking you through how to shift your beliefs. But most importantly, for the next week, no, for the next month, I want you to set yourself the mission of accepting compliments. And all you have to do is, if someone gives you a compliment, is you stop what you're doing, you smile, and you say thank you. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to look at them if you don't want, because that can be pretty full on, yeah, sometimes. So you stop what you're doing, you smile to yourself, and you say thank you. And that's all you have to do. That's what I want you to start doing. That's your mission. And if you already can accept compliments, awesome, amazing. Keep doing it. See if you can do what I just said, go through that process, and then give one back. But on that, don't feel that just because someone compliments you that you automatically have to throw it back at them. Yeah. That's another really sneaky thing that can come up. And if you find yourself actually doing that, that's actually tied to a limiting belief. That's actually, if you find yourself quickly kind of saying, "Oh yeah, thank you, no worries. Oh wow, yeah, you look fantastic too." If you feel the need to quickly throw one back at them, there's a belief there that I would love you to uncover. It's most likely still to do with unworthiness, because it's making you feel uncomfortable and you feel like you have to do something back in return. It could be tied to people pleasing, which again is all sort of tied to worthiness. But yeah, again, just start noticing yourself in these situations. And if you want to chat about it, then let me know and we can do that and we can break it down. All right, now the final exercise that I'm going to get you to do for this week to help you build your self-belief is to do with your soul script. Now, your soul script is what you did last week. Well, that was one of the activities that I set you last week. If you haven't done it yet, please go back and do that first. You have to do it first. Yeah, the soul script is probably something that I would highly, highly, highly recommend and invite you to do over these next couple of weeks. Like, you want to sort of prioritize it because I want you to start implementing it. There are lots of resources and activities that I'm giving you, but I would say that this is actually probably one of the most important ones. So if you haven't yet done it, go back from last week, do the soul script. It's all in the guidebook. Once you've done that, you're then going to come to this week and you're going to do this activity. So this activity is you're going to turn your soul script, which is something that you've written down, you're going to turn it into your own audio affirmation. This is you supercharging what you want. You're literally creating a customized audio in your own voice visualization, manifestation script. This is so powerful. I started doing this, I don't know, years ago, back when affirmations just weren't really working for me. I'd gone through the process. I'd learned about them. They made sense. I'd do them. I'd do the journaling. I'd write things out 10 gazillion times a day. I'd say the affirmations. But what I found was it was just words, and I wasn't feeling anything, and I wasn't connected to anything, and it was just nothing was happening. I've now found out that that's really common. And so I've pretty much just created my own version, and that's what this is. So what happens is you write out what you want, which is your soul script. You then, the whole point of manifestation, like the way that you do it, is by feeling something. It's the only way. You have to feel the thing, feel the emotion. You just have to feel good. Even if you can't quite tap into what it's like to have $1 million, it's just simply about taking your vibration up the scale. Remember that scale that I showed you in week 1? Taking your vibration up the scale so that you're in the receiving mode. And the fastest way to do it and the most fun way to do it is through music. Music has incredible vibrations, and they have a way of penetrating into our own energy field. So when you pair your affirmations or your soul script with music, supercharge. It's massive. So in the guidebook, I show you exactly how to do that. It's incredibly simple. If you have any problems with it, message me, email me, and I can talk you through it. But I'm pretty confident that you'll be able to follow the steps. And what I want you to do, what I'm inviting you to do, is to listen to it and play it every day. Do it every day for the rest of the program. So it's like probably 9 weeks. That will absolutely secure your vision. And it will absolutely secure your belief. Now, the beautiful thing about recording your own music affirmation is you can make it the first thing that you listen to when you wake up instead of jumping on your phone. You can pop it on when you're in the car and you're driving somewhere. You can put it on when you are cooking dinner or going for a walk or doing your exercise. Yeah, like it suddenly becomes so much more available and convenient, and there is no excuse not to listen to it. And doing it at least once a day is just going to get you in a good zone. I do also recommend like actually physically saying it as well. So something that you might want to play around with is listening to it when you first wake up or just before you go to bed is another really good one. And then maybe, I don't know, a couple of times a week, once a week or something, instead of listening to it, actually go ahead and say it. Like say it out loud, read out your script. Yeah? Really, really good. It just shifts you, shifts your vibration. Now, mine is, I mean, I've done a gazillion of them, but the current one I think is about 22 minutes long. So, there's a good amount there. Don't worry about what the time limit is. Most people, I think, would probably be between 12 to 17 minutes, and that's normal. But you want to be feeding your mind with exactly what you want. So, what better way than your own customized soul script, magic script in your own voice to music that makes you feel good? Honestly, this is how you manifest what you want. It's so, so powerful. And the reason why you're doing this is to build your self belief that you can actually do this. You're going to be doing these three things in those in between moments of when it feels like nothing is happening. You're going to be creating and thinking about and putting your focus on what you want. And this is all we have to do in the moments that it feels like nothing is working. And it's just about finding fun, playful ways to be able to do that. Yeah. Now, if you really want to go super, super extra charged, I would recommend doing that as you move. So, as in either listening to your soul script or saying it out loud to music as you are doing some movement medicine. So, this isn't dancing. This is literally just being your lounge room, your kitchen, your bedroom, wherever, somewhere private, somewhere safe, and just moving your body, releasing pressure, releasing tension. Sometimes you might end up just shaking. Sometimes you might end up just swaying. Sometimes you might just stretch, but it's about moving your body and it's just all intuitive. No one's watching, no one can see you. It is totally okay. If you do all of those things, write your soul script, either say it out loud or listen to it, a recording of it with music as you're moving your body. If you do those four things, watch it land in your lap. It honestly just takes you to a whole new place. And that's how you manifest. That's how you build your self belief. You manifest by building your self belief. It's really, really cool. That is how to build your self belief. I did say that this week was going to be a lot lighter. I hope you feel that. I'm really excited to see how you go with these exercises. They're a lot of fun. Any questions, of course, reach out.